I have no hair. Let's not dwell on it. Let's not talk about it. Let's just move on. Just move on. Oh look, it's Star Wars news on May the 4th, and I know it's May the 5th, but actually, like, I wrote this and was supposed to film it on May the 4th, so it totally counts. Anyway, how did that happen? How is there Star Wars news on May the 4th? It's almost like they planned this stuff out. It's almost like they kind of sequence lots and lots of Star Wars announcements until there's so much Star Wars that basically whether you hate it or love it, it doesn't really even matter, because the good eventually in your head outweighs the bad, and you're like, oh yeah, I really love Star Wars, and then all I can think of is Star Wars and Star Wars and Star Wars and Star Wars. Okay, so there's a new edition of X-Wing, and as soon as it was announced, it was like a million voices cried out the same terrible Star Wars reference at the same time. I guess I'm just as bad as you folks. Okay, enough of this, focus. So get this, X-Wing is 6 years old. Can you believe that? It actually makes me feel old in a weird way, but competitive games, as they age, they develop a lot of baggage, and eventually that baggage needs to be cleared up. Now, games like Magic the Gathering, even though they're like 25 years old, they never need a second edition because new rules can be worked into existing ones and all your cards are still completely fine. But if you've been collecting these gorgeous starships, then you might feel very rightfully upset that now you have to not only purchase the new edition core set, but also upgrade kits for each of the armies that come at 50 bucks each. But at the expense of turning this new segment into a cardboard therapy session, I'm going to posit something here. Maybe you shouldn't be upset. Just bear with me. The effigy announcement very much points to the idea that all of these changes are there to zhuzh up a very stale tournament scene, and if you are a tournament player, then you should be excited. This is a good thing, but it's expensive, I hear you say. Yes, and it has always been expensive, and nevertheless, you persisted. So embrace it, just be excited by the changes. But what if this was the tipping point? What if this was the last straw? What if this was the last push of a drill that constantly bore a hole in your wallet? Well, to be honest, if that's the case, then it sounds to me like you haven't been enjoying the game as much as you thought you were. Because maybe, just maybe, these ships that you kept buying didn't actually bring you the happiness that you thought they did. And if that is the case, then, well, as hard as breakups can be, just shed it, you know, shed it away. Be free. A couple of caveats. Of course, some of you don't care about the tournament scene and just want to play casually, or you just like to collect ships because they're pretty ships, and that's fine, your ships are still there, and if you enjoy the game as is, then keep on playing that game. It's still there, it's fine, it's good. But what if you do want to upgrade but actually can't afford it? See, that's a rough one, and I feel for you. But number one thing, don't feel bad. Not everyone's made out of money, so, you know, it's cool. But ask yourself, do I really need this? Will I actively participate this if I upgrade to the new version? And if the answer is yes, then maybe make some sacrifices. Sell off some of the older ships that you haven't been using lately, and, you know, make a budget list and start with that, and just get, you know, the core set and whatever one upgrade kit that you need for that to work, and go from there. And if that brings you happiness, then great. I hope it continues to bring you happiness. I'm not gonna end on a punchline, because I just want to make you feel good. You know what makes me feel good? Trees. And they finally announced a reprint for that stupid tree game called Arboretum. And why is it stupid? Well, okay, it's not stupid. It's just that that game gets so much hype that if you tell anyone that you haven't actually played the little card game that could, then they look at me like I'm some sort of salivating animal, and then they have this brief moment of realization and they go, oh my god, you must play it! This game is so good! And I'm like, okay, cool. Do you have a copy? And of course they don't have a copy. Nobody ever has a copy of this game because well, they say they didn't print that much of it, but actually I think it's all a conspiracy, and that game doesn't really exist. And that's why it was so easy for Renegade Games to acquire the license from Z-Man Games, because there is no license. They just went, okay, we're gonna go ham on this conspiracy and actually make the game, get Beth Sobel to do all new artwork, And then we're gonna publish it arboretum, and they'll be like, haha, this game does exist, and then people are like, oh, yeah, don't tell me it's not a conspiracy in the comments. Don't tell me you own it. Don't tell me you played it. I don't believe you. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who think Vampire the Requiem is better than Vampire the Masquerade, a very small minority, and then those who are wrong. The good news is that if you are wrong, then there's good news. Your favorite thing ever is getting a new version, but this time it is coming from publishing house Modiphius, the company that's responsible for some of the best big book role-playing games of the last couple of years, and I suspect they are probably the big fans of the old game, and I suspect they're going to drag it into the 21st century with a proper remake, and I suspect that they're going to do the game justice, and I suspect they'll be successful enough that they'll be so busy that they'll never have time to rework the version that I like. It's fine, you get your thing, I'll just starve. In this week's Celebrity News segment, I'm really tired of the Celebrities News segment joke, so I'm just going to axe it. But what if you really like celebrities? What do you do in that case? Well, board game celebrities are kind of like celebrities, and you can meet them. Where do you meet them? At conventions. Do you go to conventions? Sure, great, but what if you don't meet the celebrities that you like? Well, I'll tell you what, come to our show on Saturday at 9 p.m. in Toot Suite. That's where all the seminars are happening, and a lot of the board game celebrities will be at our show. I'll even spoil one of them for you now. Tom Vassell, haha, that's a board game celebrity, right? And there's even more, but we're gonna spoil them in other videos as we roll up towards Expo. So Saturday, 9 p.m, Toot Suite, UK Games Expo, us, you, Tom Vassell, and others. See you there.